Shalom everyone and welcome to Jerusalem. Next Shabbos is the birthday of the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov, two of the most holy men that have ever lived. It once happened that the Alter Rebbe was going along the way when there was a major fire going on in the middle of the town. The whole building is engulfed in flames, dozens of firefighters trying to deal with it, and no one knows what to do. It's running rampant. The Alter Rebbe shows up, kneels against his canes, begins to pray, and all of a sudden the flames start dying down until they are completely vanquished altogether. These men run to their chief. They say, "You won't believe it. We were fighting to no avail and this old man showed up." And so the chief shows up, see who this righteous old man is, and he sees him and he comes up to him and he says to the Alter Rebbe, "You wouldn't happen to be related to the great Baal Shem Tov, would you?" Alter Rebbe says, "Yes, I'm actually one of his proteges." He says, "If that's the case, I'm no longer surprised by what my men have told me." He says, "If you don't happen to have the time, I have a story for you about your master, the Baal Shem Tov." Alter Rebbe says, "Of course I have time." He goes with the man to his home, and the man pulls out a journal that belonged to his father. He says, "My father was a commander of a whole platoon of soldiers, and it once happened that they were based in a certain location, and for a long time he didn't get to see his wife. And he didn't get to hear from her because no letters were coming. Even though he wrote to her, nothing would come. And he started getting very worried. His imagination would run rampant. What could be? And it was driving him crazy. He consulted people in town to try and help him out in his problem, but nothing was working. Eventually, some of his men came up to him and said, "Hey, there's supposedly a very righteous Jew in town named the Baal Shem Tov that maybe you should consult." He says, "Very well, let's try it." So he sends some of his soldiers to go and organize a meeting with the Baal Shem Tov, but the Baal Shem Tov turns him down. So he sends again, Baal Shem Tov turns him down. It happened to be during the time of Passover, when you're not allowed to have leavened bread in a Jewish home. So this time, the commander sends his soldiers over and he says to them to say to the Baal Shem Tov that if he refuses, he will go ahead and tell all his soldiers to go ahead and base in the town, and they will be taken into the homes of the Jewish people. And all of a sudden, all this leavened bread will come with the soldiers into their town and will completely ruin their Passover. As soon as the Baal Shem Tov hears about this one, he says, "Fine, I'll meet with this man." So day comes, and the commander shows up with one of his soldiers to the home of the Baal Shem Tov. And he comes into the door, he sees in another room the Baal Shem Tov sitting there studying the Zohar. And in the first room that he comes into, he notices a mirror on the side of the room. He figures he'll go and touch up really quickly before having his meeting. He goes and looks in the mirror, and all of a sudden, the mirror transforms. He sees his hometown. And as he gets closer, he notices his home. And as he looks closer, he sees inside his home, his wife is sitting there at the table. And she's writing a note. And she says, "I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to you. Things have been very difficult, but everything's fine, thank God. I'm actually pregnant and due to have a child anytime now. No need to worry. I still love you and we're still one." And the commander can't believe his eyes. He pulls over one of his soldiers. He says, "Take a look at this." And the soldier sees the same exact thing. He doesn't even need to talk to the Baal Shem Tov. He's got his answer. Within a few days, he receives a letter that is verbatim everything that she was writing down in that mirror vision right before his eyes. And the child that it says that she was pregnant with turned out to be the firefighter chief that went ahead and showed this entire story to the Alter Rebbe as written in his father's journal from years and years before. God bless and have a good Shabbos.